Hi, everybody. Welcome back to CavBlock. So let's keep talking about capstone projects. You all know that on Friday, you need to let your mentor know that you're ready for them to look at your research journal. So, what exactly does that mean? As we've talked about throughout this entire process, you're not going to hit a point usually, at least right now in your process, where you just absolutely know that all of your research is finished. So that's not really the point of us having this Friday milestone of asking your mentor to look at your research journal. So it's not like, as I said, everything's finished after this Friday and you won't ever have to think about the research that you need for your project ever again in this whole process. That's just not how it's going to work. So we want to think of it more as let's take a pause. So on Friday, let's see where we all are. So let's pause. Let's send a message to our mentors and say, hey, I am ready for you to look at my research journal. So let's go over exactly what we want to see in your research journal so that we can make sure that there's no confusion here. So remember in your Capstone Schoology course, in our main senior capstone documents folder, we have our full description PDF, which is one of our best friends right now. And I'm going to scroll down until we find the part about phase two, which is our research. So, phase one was all about exploring and figuring out maybe what you're interested in and what you already know about it and making some plans for what you might want to do. And research is next. So, you've begun a deep dive into a potential topic. And some of you have talked to me about changing topics, and that is part of the process here, and that is natural and is fine. So here it says after you have identified a guiding research question and conducted initial exploration, you move to the more focused phase of research. So you're keeping a research journal using your Google Doc template. Um, and we've asked for you to go ahead and create your MLA citations unless there's a different citation format that you need to use for your topic. And your mentor would know that. And then you're taking notes. So this is exactly what you're used to doing throughout your school career. And don't forget, we are requiring a first person interview, which means you are the person interviewing a content area expert. So you do need to be able to explain and justify who you have selected for your interview. Now, this has been a very common question I've had. So make sure everybody understands. We completely understand that you may not be able to have conducted the interview by this Friday because you're dealing with professionals out in the field or people who don't work in our school system, and so they can't always operate by our timeline, of course. So back to what I said when I started this video, we're just pausing right now. Okay, we're not suggesting that after Friday there's no more research ever in this project. So again, as long as you have it documented in your research journal who you plan on interviewing and when, and you go ahead and have your questions typed up, you are good to go. Okay. It's all about communication and just making sure that your mentor knows where you are in this process. And the rest of this part of the full description just kind of gives you some guidance about how you want to think about your six sources. So, when your mentor looks at your six sources, can you see that you have a good foundation for the knowledge that you're going to need to accomplish your project? So we've provided some guidance here. Maybe have two sources that provide some context for your topic, two sources that provide perspectives or opinions on the research topic. And then, of course, you have your interview. You can certainly have more than one interview. All of you will end up with more than six sources, I promise. And again, that's just a natural part of the research process. That, again, does not stop this Friday just because we're taking a pause and asking our mentors to evaluate the work that we've accomplished so far. And of course, we expect that you've read your sources in their entirety and that they're credible and reputable. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use opinion pieces, okay? It's perfectly valid to read how other people argue or view topics, right? But as long as you can justify why you need to use that opinion and you can show that you've analyzed the opinion or you've evaluated the opinion, it should be fine. And then what you're going to be doing after Thanksgiving break in your English classes is writing your phase 2 of your process paper, which is about the research that you found. How did you find it? What did you learn about finding information, about doing the actual research, and kind of explaining the sources that you found and how they're going to be helpful. So the last part of this, the research journal, leads up to you creating a proposal for what you want your project to be. So after you've done your inquiry, you've done your exploration, you've done a deep dive into some research. Now we've laid a foundation and we want to see, what's your proposal? What do you think you would like to do with everything that you've learned? So it's really exciting. We're getting to this part. Um, you should have access to this document as well through your English classes, explaining the phases of your process paper. And so, again, if you want to look through this to remind yourself how you're going to translate your research journal into your phase 2 of your process paper, all of that information is here. And like I've already talked about, you want to think about the steps in your search process, sources that you started with, and how those led you to other sources. Did you end up changing any of your research question in any way? What were the problems that you faced? How did you have to change how you searched for information? And then evaluating your sources, basically kind of defending your choices, because think about all of the information that you have at your fingertips. And if we're only asking for a minimum of 6 sources, how do you narrow all of that down to just 6? So how do you justify your selections? That's all really important. And another reminder here to look at the grading rubrics, okay? Make sure that you understand what we're looking for. So this is how your mentor will assess the work you've accomplished so far. And please remember that if you would like to earn more points on any of these assessments, you can do that. We want you to keep working on your documents and improving them as you move throughout the process. And your mentor can go back and reassess them at any point. Okay. And again, that's going to be particularly true for Friday with your research journal, because again, it's not like on Friday, magically all of the research stops, right? Again, we're just taking a pause to see where you are now. So we're going to be looking at conventions, and that's just your citations. So if you need help with format, a lot of you have already come to see me. Please do that. Ask any teacher for help. We can all help you. Or look at the range of sources. So kind of what I already said, you have all of the information in the world at your fingertips. So how did you pick just these 6, or potentially if you already have more? We'll evaluate your interview. What kind of questions are you asking? What kind of depth of knowledge does the person you chose add to your knowledge bank? And then your thinking and inquiry. So this is why it's important for you to take thorough notes on each source, because it's the only way that we can kind of follow your thought process, right? And understand how you're thinking and how you might want to use the information. So not just the information itself that you're taking notes on, but how are you thinking about it? Evaluate it. Is it useful or not? How might you use it? What other information might you still need even after you use this source? Okay. So all of that is in here. I know you're all doing a great job. A lot of you have come to talk to me recently, and I'm really excited. But please reach out to people if you feel stuck, okay? We're all here to help you. You are not alone. Ask us for help, and we'd be happy to help you. So have a great CavBlock, and yeah, that's it. Bye.